Hey guys, so I'm basically doing this video for my Instagram followers because sometimes when I go live, I can't really expand on some of the things that I'm saying. So I want to just make a full video, a YouTube video, so that I can not have any time limitations. So I want to talk about what I'm going through right now at the hotel where I am. I stay at a long-term hotel so that after you're here for 30 days, you are tax exempt. And all the taxes that you paid are now applied to your future reservations. Now, there's one caveat, and that is the reservation has to be all one reservation, like for for a month, for the full 30 days in order for that to apply. That's what they're saying now. I have stayed at extended stay in the past, and I could never pay for the month. But after I was there for 4 consecutive weeks, it automatically kicked in. I'm in a place now where I cannot pay for a full week. I have to pay maybe a day, 2 days. If I can afford a week, I do a week. So that sort of takes me out of that, being able to get the 30-day tax exemption. However, I was led to believe, and maybe I heard the person wrong, that if they link them together, they have a way of linking them together, so that it shows as one continuous stay. And that would, again, make me eligible for the tax exemption. So at my 30-day mark, I went to the reservation desk and asked them to link them together. And that's when things started to get a little fuzzy. And that's when I was told that I had to have the whole reservation. It had to be all one reservation. Now, like I said, I've stayed at this hotel, paid by the week by week, and it just automatically set that I had been there for 30 days after 4 or so weeks. For some reason, that has changed. I don't know if it's post-pandemic or what, but it's changed so that they have to go in and manually link things together. So I'm thinking things are manually linked together and that I'll begin to have the tax exemption. They couldn't make that happen at the front desk, so I didn't understand it. I called customer service. Customer service said pretty much the same thing, but they could forward it on to their, I think, general manager, and maybe they would have the ability to link things together. But they also agreed at customer service or customer relations that they would notify the front desk that I had been there 30 days and that I was now tax exempt, and request that they go in and do that manually. So they got that done. So now when I pay, it's tax exempt. Another thing that had occurred since I've stayed here is that I check into a room. When I first checked in, I haven't left in 30 days. When I first check in, after 3 o'clock, around 3, you have to check out the next morning at 11. That's just, but since this is more of a long-term extended reservation or an extended situation, when I check in, at 3 and I reserve for the next day, I don't have to check out and take all my belongings with me and then come back at 3. I hope you're following me. I'm doing the best I can because I can't keep editing this. If I check in at 3, reserve for the next day, rather than leave at 11, I reserve another reservation, but I don't have to take everything with me and then recheck back in because they let me pay again after 3. So I have that like 6 or 7 hour window to make payment. Well, that has since been changed with all of the tax, everything. That has now changed so that I have to pay now before I leave. Now, the problem that makes for me is that I work day by day. I am a business. I sell a street paper. I write for it. I'm working on my own magazine. I have to get subscriptions. I have to get support, and that's how I do it. I meet people that are interested, and it takes a lot for me to go out there and try to get support for it. That's what I do. And with that support is how I pay for my room in the evening after 3. So it's going to make it much more challenging to have to pay before I leave, before I even have a chance to work that day. That's the first thing. Then the second thing is that if I have to pay for a day before I leave, there's little chance of me accumulating days because when I had that, say, $100 in my account, I have to pay it. So anything I make is starting out resetting. If I paid after 3, I might have $200, or I could pay for 2 days. Or let's say I've gotten contributions, and let's say it's $500, and I've got $400 in my account, and I go pay, I'll go make that day, and I make another $100, so I can, pay for a full week. Now it doesn't accumulate because I have to I have to take off the top before I even leave. So I can't even accumulate days. So I'm saying this to say this. People with housing instability have to go through these challenges. We think in broad terms, put everybody in a shelter, put everybody in a hotel. It's much more complex than that. These are the battles that we have to fight. These are the battles that we have to fight, and it makes the task much more onerous. So I think this hotel, as well as hotels throughout the country and businesses, need to be sensitive to our needs, sensitive to what it takes for us to move more seamlessly through society. This is something that people have to deal with every day. They come in, they put their bags down, and they're in, and then they have to take everything up the next morning at 11. But many hotels will allow you to reserve a room for the next day without leaving all your belongings, taking all your belongings with you, and then take care of it in the evening or after 3. And I think that is a reasonable accommodation for people in this situation. And I say we need to make accommodations. Every business does, because housing instability is debilitating enough. So I would think once you get into a place, if you have shown that you can pay day by day, that you shouldn't have to check out that window between, say, 11 and 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, after 3 or before closing, you should be given that opportunity to cover the expenses of the reservation without having to leave with all of your belongings. That's the situation I'm in right now. And I've been here for 30 days. So, I haven't been able to put things in storage. That's another complication. So I would have to take all my belongings, hopefully put them in storage, which is going to complicate the time that I can work on the streets. And it just snowballs from there. It just gets worse and worse. And I'm just asking, I think I'm going to write the company and ask them that they consider changing that policy or adjusting that policy so that people who are in a situation where they can only pay for a day not have to check out and check back in before they have the opportunity to work. All of society has to work together. You see, I think it was Wendy's had, and some other companies have a payment system where you work that day, you get paid that day. Now that's helping people with housing instability. You can't wait a week to get a room for the night. And see, people don't get these things. They think, oh, people are just lazy. People are just out panhandling. People are working on getting a room. And some people work the 9 to 5. Many people work in restaurants. And the restaurants are kind of catching on. They caught on during the pandemic, but the problem had been long before the pandemic. Long before the pandemic. And that's why day jobs are so crucial for people with housing instability, because they have to build that nest every day. Every day they have to build a safe, secure place. So corporations need to understand this. Specifically, hotels need to understand this. And I'm glad I'm going through it now, because I guess I hadn't noticed it. I was paying by the week, and they just automatically set. But once I started paying sometimes by the day, because that was all I could afford, I saw another side of it. If you pay by the day, especially in these long-term hotels, you don't get the advantage of the tax exemption. So I think we need to at least try to approach the company and ask them to change that. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to write a letter and to see if I can get them to change. And if not, I think we need to petition this and any other hotel that doesn't at least give that accommodation. Everyone needs to have some sort of accommodation for people with housing instability, or it's going to continue to grow, and people will never get any traction to get back on their feet. All right. Thank you. Anyone who listened to this was mainly for my Instagram followers, because I know that sometimes I talk, but I don't really have time to focus on one thing. So I will put a link in the bio for Instagram. If anyone wants to follow me on Instagram, it is lits.talk. Lits.talk. All right. Until next time. Peace.